Breaking, Roman Reigns just broke his silence on Moxley's AEW betrayal. The tribal chief delivered a shockingly emotional tribute to his Shield brother after the Death Rider's betrayal mirrored Seth Rollins' infamous turn. Reigns' voice breaking as he confessed, history repeated itself. "I watched my brother get stabbed in the back again. This is the most raw, real talk in wrestling history." Smash that subscribe button now, we've got the full heart-wrenching story. Welcome to Star Gossip TV, where brotherhoods are tested and legends speak from the heart. The wrestling world is stunned after Roman Reigns just delivered the most emotional message of his career. Following Jon Moxley's brutal betrayal by the Death Riders in AEW, the tribal chief broke his silence with a heartfelt tribute that left fans in tears. Reigns revealed, "I watched my brother get Seth Rollins all over again. The same betrayal, the same pain, the same broken trust. But then he delivered a shocking promise, blood is blood. The Shield bond is forever. This isn't just about wrestling, this is about real brotherhood, real pain, and real history repeating itself." We've got the full emotional breakdown, exclusive insights, and shocking revelations about what happens next. Subscribe now, this story will break your heart. When the footage of Jon Moxley's brutal betrayal by the Death Riders flashed across screens worldwide, there was one man watching whose reaction was more visceral than anyone else's, Roman Reigns. Backstage sources described the tribal chief as visibly shaken and emotionally transported back to 2014 as he watched the events unfold. The parallels were unmistakable, the faction turning on its leader, the weapons used, the sheer shock on Moxley's face. It was the Shield's dissolution playing out in a different promotion with different players but the same heartbreaking script. Reigns, who rarely comments on events outside WWE, felt compelled to break his silence in a way nobody expected. He didn't release a prepared statement or a slick social media post, he spoke off the cuff, his voice raw with emotion, as if he was talking to a family member rather than a camera. "When I saw what happened to Jon, it was like getting kicked in the gut all over again," Reigns confessed, his usually commanding voice softened by genuine emotion. "The same look of disbelief, the same moment of realization that the people you'd bleed for, the people you'd gone to war with, were now your executioners. I know that feeling. I lived that feeling. And seeing my brother go through it again, it brought everything back." The tribal chief didn't just see similarities, he saw identical patterns of betrayal, right down to the timing during a moment of vulnerability and the calculated nature of the attack. The unbreakable bond forged in war. What made Reigns' tribute so powerful was his willingness to strip away the tribal chief persona and speak as simply Roman, the man who had fought alongside Moxley through the most formative years of both their careers. He recounted specific moments from their Shield days that few outside the inner circle had ever heard about, the long bus rides where they plotted their revolution, the backstage conversations where they dreamed of changing the industry, the unspoken understanding that they would always have each other's backs no matter what. "People don't understand what we built together," Reigns emphasized, his voice gaining strength as he tapped into these memories. "It wasn't just a wrestling faction. It was a brotherhood forged in fire that we arrived as nobodies and became legends together. We protected each other when nobody else would. When he made his choice, it wasn't just business for me and Jon, it was family turning on family." Reigns revealed that despite their different career paths since the Shield's dissolution, he and Moxley have maintained contact, checking in on each other during personal milestones and professional challenges. "We don't talk about work much. We talk about life. About being fathers. About staying true to who you are in an industry that tries to change you. That connection doesn't disappear because we work for different companies." This admission was particularly significant given WWE's traditional reluctance to acknowledge competitors. The painful parallels between then and now. Reigns didn't shy away from drawing direct comparisons between the Shield's betrayal and the Death Riders' actions, highlighting what he called the same playbook with different characters. He broke down the specifics, the way both betrayals happened after major victories when guards were down, the use of weapons that had previously been symbols of unity, the calculated timing designed for maximum psychological impact. "Seth used that chair, the same chair we'd use together to dominate the roster, to break us apart, Reigns recalled, his voice tightening with the memory. I see the Death Riders using the same weapons they'd fought alongside Jon with. It's not coincidence, it's the same psychological warfare. The tribal chief also noted the similar motivations behind both betrayals. In both cases, it was about ambition overriding loyalty. About wanting the spotlight more than wanting the Brotherhood. Seth thought he needed to break from us to become a star. These Death Riders, they probably think the same thing. What they don't understand is that real greatness comes from unity, not betrayal. Reigns saved his most insightful observation for last, the saddest part. Both betrayals misunderstood the man they were betraying. Seth thought Jon was just the crazy one. These Death Riders probably think he's just the hardcore one. They don't understand that beneath all that is one of the most loyal, realest people I've ever known. The promise of unwavering support. In the most emotionally charged part of his message, Reigns made a promise that sent shockwaves through the industry. Blood is blood. Brotherhood is brotherhood. I don't care what company he works for, what logo is on the curtain, if my brother needs me, he knows how to reach me. While carefully avoiding any suggestion of contract violations or professional complications, Reigns made it clear that his loyalty to Moxley transcended corporate boundaries. There are things bigger than wrestling. Bigger than championships. Bigger than brand wars. What we have, what we built, that's forever. The tribal chief also offered wisdom born from experience. I've been where Jon is right now. That moment when the world feels like it's collapsing and you can't trust anyone. But here's what I learned, the betrayal reveals who your real family is. It clears out the noise and shows you who's really in your corner. Reigns concluded with a message of hope that doubled as a warning. The Shield was built on being against the world. Maybe now Jon remembers what that feels like. And maybe, just maybe, that makes him more dangerous than ever. The implication was clear. Just as Reigns had transformed his post-betrayal pain into the tribal chief persona that dominated WWE for years, Moxley might emerge from this betrayal stronger and more focused than ever. So what does this all mean? Roman's emotional tribute reveals three truths. 1. The Shield bond transcends companies and championships. 2. Betrayal follows the same patterns across generations. 3. Reigns and Moxley's brotherhood remains unbroken. The biggest question, could this lead to a Shield reunion against the Death Riders? Will Reigns help Moxley against the Death Riders? Could this lead to cross-promotional warfare? Is a Shield reunion actually possible? Drop your predictions below. Subscribe now, because if the Shield reforms, we'll be the first to break it. 100k subs equals 24/7 Shield Brotherhood coverage.